is the first year that there is a reduction, but there isn't a reduction in the contribution. There were just some creative ways to think of how can it be paid. That's not my business, it's not my point. My point to you is, if you go back to our budget, which is the long page, go back to page F4 again, please. Do you see that we had only 9,000 and zero in pension? Look at the year 1920. We were asked the year before by the first selectman, could you start adding more money? That's 100,000 more to the 350, which is 450. Doesn't that put us back exactly where we started? I just wanted to show you the reality. That's what we did. We added 100,000 in this past year, and it was paid in. And then this year, even though we know that some of this is being offset by our contribution, you see that we added 10,000. And our goal, you can ask Ron, I know you have to trust me to some extent. Ron will tell you, our goal when I went to even the town selectmen said, we're trying to leave that line open because if we can save 50, 80,000, that line has to come back if you're going to need that predictability there going forward. But the amount of money on our side is probably going to have to even grow well past 100,000, 200,000. But you're going to have to figure out another side. I can speak to our side and only our side. I think what's being done is fair to the taxpayers, and we're making sure that we're funding it. But I want you to know there are pieces that you have to realize of how we've been getting that up to $1 million+ in contribution. And I think you're at something like 86%, which is better than most districts, but you certainly want to get to that 100% mark. There's no question that we don't want to see that done. That's a personal, not a board. How we'll get there is a board decision. Please, I can't answer that. I can show you the facts of what has been happening, where it is, and what we've been doing, and that we are, in fact, doing what you said. Are we now trying to build, to try to put money in that category so that we can make sure that we don't have a structural deficit on our side of the budget. And I think we've always worked together. I think the town has good faith. I absolutely respect the town's effort. I just want to tell you that I think we are systematically trying to make sure that the money will be there to the extent we can.
When was the 100,000 paid? Because that wasn't done when I was here, so it was before.
It was
December.
done under Kathy Tendridge as first selectman. She said, I'd like to add, you went back, we're here. When it was being thought of, it didn't happen until you came back this year, just now.
Yeah, so 1920 year, and I came back in what, January? So that 100,000 was paid to Wells Fargo before I came back.
No,
It was just paid.
It was just paid
Is
recently.
that OPEB? That's OPEB.
It's paid in the
Not the OPEB, there was
No.
100,000.
There was 100,000 sent in recently?
Yes.
Oh, so I didn't see that. So
Yeah,
you just
I'll-
cut a check to Wells Fargo?
Yes, that
You
was
cut a
OPEB.
check directly to Wells Fargo for pension?
Yeah, we're talking
And then
100,000 payments here.
Okay.
One is
All right.
100,000 to OPEB, that went to Wells Fargo.
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
And then the 100,000 also was sent to the town for the pension.
Okay. And when we talk about Sterling, if Sterling's paying a portion of the pension, if Sterling's paying a portion of that pension,
It's in the rate.
can next year's budget, can we put it towards the pension, not the revenue line item? Because right now, the Sterling money that comes in, it's called tuition out of town. So if they're paying a portion of the pension, that should get redirected to the pension fund. You know, if it's $5,000.
But all
You know what I
the
mean?
Sterling
That
money
should-
goes to the town, Kelly.
Yeah, but listen, it goes to one line item. It's called tuition out of town. I'm just saying we need to segregate that portion out to pension. So $50, say $50 tuition. $5 of that is pension. So we'll budget $45 for revenue, $5 I'll offset the pension. Do you know what I mean? So it'll go right to the pension fund. Yeah.
I
'Cause then
can't,
it just-
I can't answer that, you know, but
And this is an idea. It's an idea that we could
You
do.
get all of their money. If you want to segregate it and not.
But I just need to know what you're billing them for pension, because I don't know what that number is. That's-
Yeah, right, they'll tell you.
Yeah.
It's blended into the rate, I'll have to determine what that.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I don't know what that number is.
Because Sterling has 100 children out of 600 children, technically they're paying 1/6 of the high school. It's a little different in the formula, but that's a good way.
Right.
Because they have 100 children out of 2,000 children, they're paying 1/200 of the cost on fixed costs. That is a cost that they do pay. They don't get
Yes.
transportation and stuff. So there is a portion, and not against school, but against your side. It's your money. We don't do revenue, you can do what you
Yeah,
like.
so when we build the budget,
Yeah,
when we
so
build the budget.
that's what I was gonna ask you, could we just request that to be
Yeah, when we build
segregated
the
out?
budget, it'll be out-of-town tuition, and then the portion that is pension related,
Right.
we put it there, we put it in pension.
I think that, personally, I think that's a good idea,
It's not
because I
your
think that's a good
decision.
point, because I think it would help, when you're reading the budget, I think it would help us understand that better, because I think you're right, the way the line item is right now, when people look at that, they have no idea what's
They
going
don't know
on,
what's in there.
obviously, to go to pension, so that's, yeah, I think that's a good idea, and so we'll certainly have future discussion.
And just for clarity, board, not only did we pick up 100,000 there, but I think it's now, this is its 5th year, they told us OPEB, and OPEB is that the people who can carry on their health insurance beyond us, right?
It's other post-employment benefits, so when
Other
people,
post-employment benefits.
when teachers retire, they can stay on the health insurance for the school, so that's a cost, it's a liability as teachers get older and the cost of the plan grows, the cost of it. So you're
So-
supposed to set a fund up.
So we met and we were informed that, especially when you are self-insured, even collaboratively, it's a liability, so you need to be putting $1 million in that fund. And they said, so you should be putting 100,000. So we added 100,000 on our side of the ledger that comes out of our e-chip, not out of our taxpayers. Again, I would hope you would do this to yourself, that as a board and as a town, you know, we're looking at some creative ways, because we're self-insured, instead of asking the taxpayers, we're asking the people who we're saving money by being self-insured to the point that we're making it one of the costs. And then only this year, they moved the adult ed onto our side of the ledger, which we said we will do and we want to do, but then when you're flat funded, that's 100,000 less that we have for children, because that's going to adult. So I think sometimes, I think the board, I just want to appreciate, I'm not looking for you to smile, I just want you to realize 100,000 on adult ed is now taken out of our budget that we're subsidizing. 100,000 of OPEB is coming from each-chip, and 100,000, she wasn't aware, is actually being paid in addition to the pension, because the 350 needed to go to 450, and it probably needs to go even higher. I mean, that's not a question. We have to build that. We just can't go from 100 to 500,000, because, I mean, that money was moved a long time ago. But whatever you have to do, you have to do.
Actually, I would suggest a meeting between the three of us here, Kelly and also Christie, to start the conversation about how we're going to be able to layer those numbers in together. I mean, we just discovered something tonight that we can start the ball with right away.
That was also something that was noted by the auditor. There was a question that came up, I don't remember who asked it, but basically the question was there a recommendation as far as where to raise that, you know, how to raise the contribution? And the answer, which I kind of expected from him, which of course that's not his place as the auditor to state that, the reality is that's a town leadership discussion as far as how to get there and what that amount may be. So I think it's just good to note that there will of course be, you know, discussions on do we want to raise it and how we're going to fund it. All right, questions, comments from the members, school pensions or anything else along that line? No? All right. Ken, thank you for your updates, the packet, the information, that was helpful.
Well,
Next item, item 2, to discuss and act on line item transfers. Does everyone have a copy? I know it was sent out electronically. Does everyone have a copy that they can refer to? All right. Kevin, any comments on line item transfers as presented?
I think what you see in front of you are the final ones for the year. We were trying to make sure that we had everything to present to the Board of Finance so that they have an opportunity to ask the questions. On the right-hand side, you'll notice what each item, how it got there for purchases. We did, and as part of that 20 some odd thousand dollars that the town put in towards FEMA. One of the items actually is the very first one up there, and that is we have a sanitizing fogger, which we purchased, and that's that one right there. We did some highway overtime because there was some paving we did of all the roads, and they went longer into the evening to get it all done in a short period. So there was overtime associated to that. Recreational vehicle was damaged, and we needed some support there, so there's $1,000 for that. We had some problems with the air conditioning. Both refills again, there was more needed because we were sending things out for COVID-19. We're trying to do as best we can in the town hall when it was closed, so if we had an issue where someone wanted to have their dog license or the transfer station sticker or other licenses that they needed to be mailed out, that's what we were using extra postage for. And copy machines, we're going to do a little different next year, where we actually split it up by department we use it, and that way, if there was an overrun that we saw, we're going to figure out exactly where it comes from. Again, for Mr. Brogy, he was posted, unfortunately, to legal, and it's not really a legal expense. He is our engineer for environmental, and he was a gentleman who was doing the environmental for the town highway garage area, and so that was just a readjustment to where the legal, taking out illegal, putting it to his expense. Computer salary went overtime, obviously, because we've had a lot of issues with the COVID-19, and he's been doing updates and staying a little later and coming in a little early to cover those items. Council of Governments, you'll notice it says cost of paramedic in the area for the hospitals, and I guess it's directly related to COVID-19 because there's been a lot of calls and a lot of extra calls going to the hospital. So where do we get the money from to transfer over? And that would be from the health insurance. You'll see that line in there to cover those overruns. You'll notice that what we talked about prior to this was, there's one more at the bottom. It says engineering. We have been doing a lot of engineering for different projects which are around town. So that gentleman, corporation, CME, went over the questioned amount for budget. So we actually will be looking to actually change that over from Social Security and transfer from there. You'll notice actually, just to understand this particular line item, in this year's current budget, it went from, I think it was 35, we bumped it to 50, so we should be okay for this coming year. And the rest of that is the police request where we're talking about, I believe that's all of the items that were requested to cover some of the smaller overruns that they have.
All right, questions, comments from the members?
Not a real tough question, I guess. But Kelly, how many times have we transferred out of the health insurance account?
Health insurance, this is probably our second or third time. And the reason why is our police department, we were supposed to hire a new officer, and I don't think that happened. So I had money set aside for a family plan, so there's money set aside in there.
Okay.
So that's why you have that excess.
That probably totals right around that 70 to 100,000 total.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Further questions from me?
Quick question, Kevin. On the amounts that you're asking for are a little higher than what's actually on the analysis. You know, for instance, like highway overtime, you want 4,000. It shows you're negative 30, 34 on budget analysis.
When I brought that to the Board of Selectmen, I didn't know it wasn't exactly cut off as June 30th, so in case the guys, I don't know, a storm or something came up, I wanted to make sure there was enough money in. Nothing's gonna be spent more than what's in there, you know, because the year's over.
Right. I mean, I'm going by what your statement of 713 is.
713, yeah, that I ran it on 713?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I requested the funds to him was prior to that.
Prior to that?
Yeah, it was prior to that. I tried to get you the information, like what the date, you know, so you can see it. I feel like you didn't have to read. But it was before that, and I just rounded it up just in case something. I didn't want to have to come back again for another line item.
And what was the engineering for again?
We've had different projects around town which we require the engineer to go out to, like if it was a driveway that needed to be inspected to. There was one actually over on, I guess it was Plainfield Road area that needed an inspection. There's also some things we're worried about with the new MS4. We have to follow those requirements, and you need an engineer for that.
When was the work done, do you know?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you when it was done, but probably within the last 4 or 5 weeks of the budget year, and that's when the bill came in after the fact. So that's why that's there now. Otherwise, we would have put a line item transfer earlier.
So, 611, you had $18,000 left in 611.
But that depends if it was actually posted properly or not, and some of those things came up later on.
And then on 6/18, you had 3455 after we took out the $15,002. So there. So their bill was like 17 grand.
Yeah, it was a high bill. It was a high bill. I was amazed when I saw it, yes. What I can do is just run the trial balance for you, the general ledger, and you can see all the transactions, all the amounts.
So now you can understand why I went into a freeze right away.
Yeah. Yeah.
No other things are going to get done until it comes up in front of my office and I see what the request is.
Yeah. Are you good, Gary, or do you have anything else?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Don? Anything? You're good? If there's no other questions or comments from the members, I would entertain a motion to approve line item transfers.
I'll move that we approve the line item transfers as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the line item transfers as presented for the total amount of $63,255, correct, Kelly?
Yes.
Just want to make sure, yeah, okay, good, so that's the accurate one, so again, $6,255, line item transfers. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Nay.
Okay, one nay. Abstentions? Motion carries. All right, and item 3, discuss the 2019-2020 fiscal year budget statement. Kelly, any specific updates?
I just wanted to let you know, Mashantucket Pequot, 27,366, I did receive that, so that is not a variance. That was received the beginning of June. So those funds are there now. I mean, as you can see, our investment interest is well above our budget. Interest and lien taxes for tax collector above budget. Building permits, planning and zoning applications. And I think I have another month still to post for the collection and the town clerks for June. So some of these revenues will be even higher. Property tax, on the second page, property tax revenue is above budget. Back taxes, favorable. And then the road construction, at the end of this fiscal year, we didn't use the whole $300,000. We had municipal revenue sharing grant, we were able to use that for road paving. And a portion of Town Aid Road I used for road paving. So you're not gonna see using the whole $300,000, so that'll go back to the fund balance at the end of the year. I think used on the back page, road construction. It's on page 7. So we used 48,000 of the 300,000. So 251,000 will go back to the fund balance, for sure.
And Kelly, one of the variances I know you had mentioned before was highway overtime.
Yes.
That was due to paving of the roads. Staff had the after hours in the evening. Because that was one of the things I remember I was following up on that and had sent an email to Gary and I. The other one was with supplies, buildings, and maintenance, and I was doing the cleaning.
Yeah, it was due to COVID expenditures, additional wipes. You know, we put an order in, they're in high demand and we received them. So, yes.
I have a question, Kelly.
Yes.
Since the taxes are not due until October,
Yes. Oh, you
so
want to know
how
what
are we financing ourselves?
right now, you'd be surprised the amount that's coming in.
Oh, I know I paid mine, but
Yeah, I know. Like,
Besides that.
that's what I mean. Like right now,
enough to get through till October?
I would think so, yeah. I can let you know, like, what the percentages versus last year. I can't tell you that.
No, I was just curious.
But yeah, I was surprised.
Because when I was on the board of selectmen, we used to have to take out short-term notes.
Right, no. You have the fund balance too, so the money can come in and go back in. So there's funding there.
Just to comment on that one.
Sign them, really.
It's a very positive thing what Karen did. Karen actually opened up downstairs for those couple of weeks prior. She's actually done the town a favor, because what happened was people who aren't familiar with, oh, I can do it online, or I can do it, we have a Dropbox that's been added in.
I paid that to do it.
No, it worked out very well, because people who normally would just walk in anyway would have probably come to the door and it would have been closed, but she decided just to open it up, do all the transactions there. So it's been very healthy. It's come in very well so far.
Kelly, one thing that's good to note though is I know we've had this discussion before about the fund balances. So based on the fund balance, how long would you say worth of bills we could pay?
I'm not.
We usually were trying to push like at least 2 months, right?
Yeah,
So
you're
like
above 2 months. You're at least 2.5 months now.
2.5 months.
Yeah. In the audit report, it stated how many months was, but I don't remember off the top.
Yeah.
I don't exactly remember, but yeah, it's over 2 months definitely.
Yeah.
I think even a couple years ago, when the state had passed the budget, I think it was just about 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
It's pretty
But it's also good, I like to bring that up too, because it's also good to remember why we don't want to keep depleting the fund balance, because we want to make sure that we have that ability, and if we keep eating away at it, we're not going to be able to. All right, other questions, comments on the budget statement? Hearing none, moving on to citizens' participation. Yep.
Yep.
What do you think, at the Board of Selectmen's meeting, line item transfer, motion for custody
Yep.
from the social security to the engineering?
Yes.
Is that for the last year budget?
That's for fiscal year 20, so June 30th of 20. So that,
That's going forward for the new budget?
yes. Yeah, we got a bill at the end of June. It was a big bill, so that's what it was.
Okay, so it wasn't for this past year. That's what I was questioning that. How do you close the budget on June 30th? And line item transfer, like from last year's budget, how do you close?
For a line item transfer, because we're doing it in July versus June. Is that your question? Yeah. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Are you asking because it was July and not June that we did the line item transfer?
Right, so the budget closed officially June 30th, correct?
Correct.
How is there transferring on from last year's budget?
Well, we're not transferring the expenditure. You're just moving the budget line item, like $5 more, to another line item. Just so you're showing your auditors that you're being responsible and you took care of, the bill came in, it was over, so now you're moving line item. You had excess funds in this one, you're just gonna move it over there. It's not, I didn't spend any more money or anything like that. Just to show that you notice such a shortage and you're just correcting it. I can't
Sorry,
hear you.
Naomi,
I'm so
it's
sorry.
kind of hard.
I don't ever remember us doing that in the past, that's why.
Yeah.
Had that been done in the past?
Yeah, I have done that before in the past. I could try to look up meeting minutes and, show you, but I remember doing it in the summertime before with Bob
Yeah,
Fingers.
you could.
Yeah. Yep.
Any other citizen participation? No? Okay, just one comment, just make real quick, is again, just as a reminder to the board members, the Board of Selectmen did approve the annual meeting, so please, we can mark it down. What was the date again, Kevin?
This is going to be July 29th, 7 p.m. We're going to do it via Zoom.
Yep.
But we'll try our best to see if we might be able to do something. I heard something that might be workable from tonight's meeting. If we might want to consider going to the auditorium here, spacing out people so that it's fine, but also using a way that we can actually have people watching in live stream. They have a text area to text us live, ask questions. That would be probably another way to go, to allow them to have live interaction. We'll talk about how we can do that.
Yeah, so please, board members, mark the calendar and please make yourself available.
If we have a text account, we can do that.
Has the issue of how voting is going to be counted from a general public attendance on Zoom been addressed?
For which one now?
For the town meeting?
Yeah, that's why I was thinking about the, doing the text messaging. It'll take a little while to.
I was thinking about that too, as well as, we've had an issue before getting a quorum. So we gotta make sure we get enough people to come to actually participate in this.
You don't know. You don't know if Canterbury's going to come take over our Plainfield town meeting or.
Yeah. It's a very difficult way to do things. I have to go through legal to make sure it's done right and how we do it.
Is the cap 100 or 200 members? Not that.
Oh, for an inside?
For a Zoom meeting.
Oh, for a Zoom meeting? No, we have 1,000.
Okay.
Yeah, we purchased the one.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it? 1,000 Plainfield.
Our only issues we have with that right now are if we have people that can't dial in and they're having a problem because of their other service that they have. That's the only issue we've had so far.
All right, so with that said, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, motion and second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned, 8:35.